Yo, what the deal? It's your boy X.E.L. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you. Yes, you. Thank you for coming back. But if you are new here, please do me a favor and like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so I'll let you know when I drop another video. Today, what I want to do is go over Cubase versus Traction Waveform. Which one you rocking with? I'm going to show you a couple of things about both of these DAWs. I'm going to go over the pricing, the features, the workflow, and some of the pros and cons that I've seen using both of these DAWs. So let's get right into it, but first, a word from our sponsor. Let's go. This video is sponsored by DistroKid, and DistroKid, we already know, is the best way to get your music on all these streaming platforms, whether that's Apple, Tidal, Amazon, Spotify, and even IG. So if you are interested in actually doing that, I have a link below in the description of this video, and you'll get 7% off of your first year with DistroKid. And this gives you an option to do a whole bunch of different things with a whole bunch of different people and a whole bunch of different platforms. So I'm not sure why you haven't done it already, but if you haven't, like I said, that link is below in the description of the video. So you get an option to do hyperlinks. You get an option to do splits with other artists that have DistroKid with them as well. You have a bunch of different tools that you can use to expand your music, and I think that's the reason that I'm still with DistroKid to this day. So if you are interested, like I said, I have a link below in the description of this video. You get 7% off of your first year with DistroKid. I'll see you there. Peace. All right, so let's get started. Cubase versus Waveform 13. So I'm going to be doing Cubase 14, which is the newest one that actually came out, and currently Traction Waveform is on the version 13. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history of Cubase. So Cubase started back in 1989. That would make it 35 years old right now. So it's a very, very seasoned DAW. It's been around for a while. A lot of people have actually used Cubase throughout the years. Many have come and gone. Some people have stuck with it. I think it's amazing that they've actually still lasted this long and are still kind of relevant in a lot of different ways, even though there's a lot of new up and coming DAWs that are trying to take its spot. But I think Cubase has hung around long enough, and you can actually get this for Mac or PC. Now, when we get to Traction Waveform, they started in 2002. So that would make them 23 years old. So they actually work on a whole bunch of different platforms. So they work on Mac, it works on PC, it works on Linux. So they have a little bit broader audience, I guess you can say, just because they actually are spread out between 3 different operating systems. So with that being said, let's get into it. I'm going to talk about pricing. I'm going to talk about some of the features. I'm going to talk about the workflow. I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of both DAWs. So let's get into it. All right, let's go. All right, so first up, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about Cubase. Here I am on the Cubase website. This is the prices for Cubase. So if you're going to be doing Elements 14, that's $100. If you're going to go to the artist route, it gives you a couple more different things in there. This Vario audio pitch is really dope. The multi-track auto warping is really dope as well. And you get some of the pad shop stuff. So it gives you a lot of really, really good things to use when you actually get the artist edition, but as you can see, it's $329. I think it's pretty pricey for Cubase, but that's neither here nor there. Some people have actually gone for the Pro version, which is the Pro 14, and that is $579. Sometimes they do run specials, sometimes they do run deals, but it's still very expensive to actually get this DAW. It does come with a lot when you buy this DAW. You get sound packs, you get plugins, you get like I said, the retro log, the pad shop, you get the Dolby Atmos support, which is really, really cool if you're doing the Pro version. If you're that person, you know, that type of person that's actually using the Adobe Atmos stuff, I would say get into it. You can charge people more for it, you know, so I say why not, right? But yeah, so I would say you don't need more than the artist if you're just going to be doing artist stuff, you know, because you still get your auto pitch here, you get your warping, you get your pattern sequencer and drum tracks. So you get all that right here in the artist version. But if you're going to go for everything that Cubase has to offer, I would say go for the Pro 14. Like I said, $579.99. If that's in your budget, I say jump all over it. They do give you a 60-day option to try out Cubase, so you get a chance to use it, see how it functions, see how it works for you. If not, then you just move on to the next, right? All right, so here is Traction Waveform. These are the Pro prices. So if you're starting out with Waveform Pro, you pretty much get everything you need in the Pro. The only thing that's different is that you'll get like a whole bunch of different plugins with the other versions. Waveform Pro is $199, so that's $200. So it's still cheaper than the Artist Edition inside of Cubase, but as you see, the prices get higher as the more things you actually add on to it. But the real key about Waveform is that this doesn't need to, you don't have to get the Pro version. They have an absolutely free Waveform version. So it's absolutely free. You get unlimited tracks, you get plugins, all that stuff already included inside Traction Waveform. So you don't have to buy anything from them. If you want to buy like separate packs, they even have an option to buy like separate pieces and packs that you can actually get and use inside of the DAW, but it's not necessary, right? So you get Traction Waveform for absolutely free. So all the functions of Waveform you still kind of get for free. If you want the additional stuff like the Pro Video, or if you want like the DJ stuff, or if you want like stem separation, all of those cost more. And it would be, if you do want to do all those things inside of the DAW, I would say get the $199 one, because it just evens out at the end. It makes it the right thing to do, because you get Biotech 2 in there, you get a whole bunch of drum libraries, you get some other collections of stuff, you get auto tune with it as well. So they do give you free auto tune when you get the Pro version of Waveform, and they give you Melodyne Essentials, so you can actually do your editing inside of Melodyne, which is really cool, right? So you can see all these other things. Like I said, they just have like different plugins that add up to make them as much as they are, and this everything bundle for $99. This is not something I would suggest to do. just my personal opinion. You can do what you want to do with your money, but I would say if you're gonna do it, I say go for the Pro version. You get pretty much everything that you need and more with the Pro version. It's kind of, I would say it's a draw. Let's just leave it at a draw and say that for the pricing, it was probably a draw with it, because like I said, this is something I don't see people getting or going for. Like I said, I don't know anybody who really uses a lot of sounds from the DAW. They usually will buy like Omnisphere, Contact, Autoria, they'll get different things to actually make the sounds, not really invest inside of the DAW's instruments, right? All right, so let's talk about some of the features that actually come with these DAWs. So I'm going to start with Traction Waveform, right? So in Traction Waveform, they have an option to do some stem separation, which is really, really cool. I'm actually talking about the Pro version. I'm sorry for the free version, people. This does not come in the free version, but you do have an option to do stem separation inside of Traction Waveform. You also have a clip launcher, which was highly requested by a lot of people, because people were used to the Ableton and Bitwig option to actually have the launcher. So Waveform does have a launcher in it, whereas Cubase does not. They also have an option for Pro Video. So they have this video option where you can actually add layers. You can actually do like editing of your videos inside of Waveform. So you have, how you have, you can drag in different videos on different layers. Whereas in Cubase, you only have one line of video. You can't really edit or distort those videos. Inside of Traction Waveform, you can cut, you can edit, you can have multiple lines, you can do a fade in, a fade out. You can do all that inside of Traction Waveform, which makes it really, really cool to have that for your DAW if you're going to be using it for video editing or adding clips to videos, or video to, music to videos and stuff like that. I think Waveform is definitely has a really good feature with that on there. They have a DJ mixing tool where you can actually use it like you're using a DJ console. You have a fader on the bottom, so you can switch from one track to the other. I thought that was super, super cool that they have that on there as well, right? They also added like some quick action bars to help with the workflow inside of Waveform, so you can actually use this bar to move things around and get to where you want to inside of the DAW. I thought that was really cool. It reminds me of Reaper, because you have like your toolbars inside of Reaper where you can actually add different things on there. It's the same kind of function inside of Waveform that way, right? And like I said, it does come with sample packs, and it has instruments, samplers, and drum racks. So those are most of the things that are a part of Waveform 13. So going over to Cubase, it has a whole bunch of different things just because they've been around a lot longer and they have a lot more to offer. Gonna just tell you that straight from the beginning, right? So they have like modulators now inside of Cubase, which is something that they've added in there. I thought that was really cool. So if you are a sound designer, Cubase may be where you want to go now. And then speaking of sounds, Cubase comes with a whole bunch of packs and different VST instruments. I know the Helion one is really good. I know they have like a pad one that they've created that was really dope as well. So you have your option for different things inside of Cubase when it comes to instruments. And of course, you know, they are the ones who actually created the VSTs. So usually the VSTs actually work pretty good inside of Cubase. They've added this really cool workflow option for this pattern sequencer that they have in there. It makes it so much easier and smoother to actually add different things and drum elements to your tracks inside there using this the step sequencer. They have a new drum rack that comes directly on the bottom of the screen now, where before you had to use like the Groove agent to actually do the same thing. This makes it more incorporated with the DAW, so like you don't have to open up a VST per se. You can just use the drum rack and actually have all the drums on there. You can use choke groups, so you can add samples on there. So basically you can use it almost like an MPC in a way, right from the DAW. And I thought that was really dope. I thought that was a really good move for them to help with the workflow inside of Cubase. They've also added like a score editor for a composer. So if you're a composer, they added like a nice little score editor where you can actually create your music on that score editor a lot easier than it was before. They also added some stuff to the Media Explorer where you can actually do some previews for like your time signature options. So like if you wanted to play a sample in halftime, it'll go according to whatever your tempo is set for the track. You can change those on there. You can even do it manually if you wanted to, which is really cool. I just think it has a little glitches sometimes when you're actually using that Media Explorer, but they've tried to revamp it and they've made it a lot better than it was before. So I definitely have to tip my hat to Cubase for the Media Explorer as well. And they have a really cool option in there that's called Vera Audio. That's for like your pitch correction. So instead of getting like auto tune, you can actually use this Vera Audio to help you edit your stuff inside of Cubase, and is built into the DAW, so you don't need to actually have like auto tune or anything like that. So kudos to them for that. I do like the fact that they do support up to 8K video now. So if you are a person that is doing a lot of video or movie editing, especially if it's 8K quality, you probably want to use Cubase just to have it in there. It doesn't give you the features like inside of Waveform where you can actually like almost edit the video completely in there if you wanted to, but you can see up to 8K resolution in there, which is amazing, right? One of the things I always did like about Cubase is it does have a rendering queue, so I can render out my stuff a lot easier inside of Cubase than inside of Waveform. So with that being said, they also have DAW projects. So if you are a person that uses Studio One or Bitwig, you also can be a part of the DAW project, so you can actually save your DAW and open it up in those other DAWs without a hitch. That's pretty much what it's supposed to be, like almost like a universal way to actually send your tracks to other DAWs or people who have other DAWs, so they'll be able to open it and continue your session as it was, and then send it back to you using a DAW project, so these DAWs can actually interact with each other, which is super dope, super cool. At least I think so. So that was the whole thing with Cubase. So when it comes down to all of this, all these features, I would have to give it to Cubase just because they have so much more. They've been around a lot longer. They have a lot more to offer inside of the DAW than you would inside of Traction Waveform. So that would be the only reason I would give it to Cubase. All right, so what I want to do is talk about some of the pros and cons that I've seen with these DAWs. So I'm going to start off with Cubase. All right, so all my Cubase lovers out there, I know you guys live and die by this DAW. I think at times it's very, very clunky and it doesn't run smooth as it should. The audio engine on there for some reason always triggers and starts messing up, and I don't know 100% why. Like any other DAW, if I can have usually multiple DAWs up at one time, but if I do that while I actually have Cubase open, Cubase no longer wants to function, and it's like it wants to take over the whole audio interface and everything inside of it. Because if I don't mess with it, it'll work perfectly fine. So that would mean I have to shut everything down and open it back up, and everything will start working fine. But if I open, say, like a FL Studio or like a Reaper or anything else inside of the computer while Cubase is running, all of a sudden the audio stops working correctly. And I can give you a perfect example of this. All right, so I'm actually doing this video with Waveform and with Cubase. And now if I play this sample in Cubase, is doing this now, and I have no idea why, because it shouldn't sound that way. That's how it should sound, right? But for some reason it's done something to the audio to where it's now doing this. So this is like one of those examples that I'm saying, whereas if I go open up Waveform and this same exact thing, it plays perfectly fine. No audio issues whatsoever with it, right? So this is one of those things that I actually have issues with when I'm talking about Cubase. Not as smooth and kind of runs glitchy at times. I also had issues opening projects in safe mode because I wasn't able to pull in the sound that was giving the issue. Like I still don't know to this day which one of the plugins or anything was giving the issue, because it's either you're using all Cubase or you're not. I didn't really like the fact that they did it that way for their safe mode, and I still to this day cannot pull up that track that I created, and it won't open up in safe mode. So I'm not sure what was causing the issue, and I haven't really seen anybody else talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it here, right? I'm not a fan of Cubase effects. I don't really like the EQs and compressors that they have in there. I don't feel that they're working the way that I usually like things to work. So I would say that it's not up to par for me. Some people out there will say, you know, these are professional tools and they use them all the time, and that's great. No knock to you. When I use them, I was like, all right, I have to use something else because these don't work for me. So there's that. If you have any qualms about the Cubase effects, please let me know. Let me see a video. Show me a video. Link it below in the description of this video with people using Cubase effects and what the results were from them actually using just stock Cubase effects. I didn't see them being that great when I was actually using them. The Media Explorer, once again, I know they've updated the Media Explorer, but it's still kind of glitchy to me. I get a lot of issues when I'm trying to change different things on there. It doesn't always follow what's selected. It doesn't, when I drag and drop, it doesn't always follow what's selected or unchecked as well. So it's like it just has a mind of its own when it comes to that stuff. And like I said, I don't know if it's just because it's trying to invent on something that's a little older and it hasn't, caught up to that. I don't know, but these are some of the things that happens when I'm using it, right? All right. Another thing that really threw me off about Cubase was there is no option to strum inside of Cubase. I don't know if that was meant by design or not, but I would love to find a way to strum. And I know people were saying you have to create like your own strum thing in there, but I haven't been able to find one online anywhere. And I have seen on the community where people, basically bashed other people for asking how to do strum, and they're like, you just have to use some tool in there and create a script to make it do a strum, but they don't show you how to do it. No one tells you how to do it. No one shows you where to go to actually do it. So I'm gonna say it doesn't have a strum feature. You can use that slicer to cut them and kind of do like a strum, but it's not the same as actually doing a strum, right? All right, so overall, I think it's a solid DAW. A lot of really cool features. The workflow is better than Traction Waveform, in my opinion. Y'all can eat me up in the comments if you want to. Let me know which one y'all think has a better workflow. I think that the piano roll is better inside of Cubase. I think the drum machine is better. Even the new one that they actually added in there. The old one, which is the Groove Agent, was really dope as well, right? The step sequencer that they added in there, really cool, really easy to use. You can actually see all the pieces and parts that you need to get stuff done. I really appreciate the time they did to put into that. The chord track is cool. Chord pads is amazing. It's probably one of my favorite features inside of Cubase. It makes me think about the other DAWs need to actually incorporate this chord pads, just to make it easier for people to make chords and stuff. I mean, you can do it with other plugins. Like I personally use Ripchord. I'm not sure if you know what Ripchord is. If you don't know what Ripchord is, I think I have a video on this channel showing you exactly how I use Ripchord. So Ripchord is a really cool tool. I would definitely suggest to use that if you don't have the chord pads from Cubase, right? Routing the tracks is a lot easier and a better workflow in Cubase than it is in Traction Waveform. There's a lot of things that I don't like about moving from track to track inside of Waveform, like adding like a bus and things like that. It's not as simple as it is inside of Cubase. But yeah, so that's where I stand with Cubase. And as far as Traction Waveform, some of the cons, like I think the workflow is kind of limiting in a way. I know people really love Traction Waveform's workflow, but there are things in there that I just don't understand completely. Let me show you just one of them. All right, so here is the track. So you have a little dot here for like your fade, right? So, and these little things up here are different things that you can use. And here are your effects. So you can add effects in here. So this is one of the things I don't necessarily like. So I can do a shift, right? And then you have to add one. So I can add another one, let's say one for volume. So it's gonna add, this one is volume, this one is pitch shift. So like, I don't understand why they did it this way. And I don't see how people say this is a faster workflow than just having something to kind of just do it all at one time. But to each his own, right? So those are some of the things that I think was kind of weird about Traction Waveform when I was actually using them. And that's why I'm saying like the workflow is not exactly as smooth as you want it to be. And like routing things is a little bit different as well. I think the piano roll feels a little limited as well, where you have to use the actual clip of the piano roll in order to stretch it or shrink it. I thought that was kind of weird that they did it that way. But like I said, everybody has their own way of processing things and doing things. I just thought that was a little bit weird. It doesn't seem like it's easier to do it that way, right? I think it needs some better samplers inside of it. You have two samplers. There's like an X sampler and another sampler that's in there, but it's still limited in a way. It doesn't give you an option to actually do like a pitch shift, kind of where you can do like 808 slides and things like that in there. So it does have a lot of limitations to it. I would say if it's not better than the Complete Control sampler, then it's probably not that good, because the Complete Control sampler is basically a regular sample. You can put a sample in there. You can't really slice them up and put them in different places. You can't really manipulate it the way you really want to, if like a regular sample, like you're using Serato Studio or something like that. So it does have its limitations with that. The drum machines are okay. I think they still need to have some features added on to those as well, and to have it more incorporated with the DAW, to where you can actually use the step sequencer a little bit better, because the step sequencers sometimes come limited and you have to set it up to make sure everything is actually being accounted for, which I thought was really weird that they did it that way, right? But yeah, but overall, I think that Traction is a good DAW for the budget. If you are in the free market, I say go with Traction Waveform. Get to learn how to actually use a DAW, different things and elements of a DAW that you can actually use. If you want to just get a piece of something, like if you wanted to do like the extraction, like the stem separation, you could buy that separately. If you wanted to do videos, you could do that separately. And they're like $50 just to actually add those little pieces on there if you wanted to do that. So you can always use the free version because the free version is going to work. You're going to have unlimited tracks still. You're going to be able to do all these little things that you can do in any other like DAW. But the other advanced features is what you may want to actually get on a little bit later, like the clip launcher, which is definitely a bonus. The Pro Video, like I was telling you earlier, that gives you an option to actually have more than one video on there, which is really, really cool, right? And you also have like the stem separation. All that stuff is what makes Traction Waveform a really good DAW to use. And like I said, the free version, you don't have to actually worry about purchasing anything. You can just use the DAW if you want. If you're just going to be doing recording and you're going to be doing like MIDI or something like that with VSTs, just get the free version. You'll be able to make whatever you want to make for absolutely free. So that's where I kind of stand with those. I want to know in the comment section, where are you guys going? Which one would you be using? Would you be using Cubase or would you be using Traction Waveform? That's pretty much what this video is about. So to me, I think there may be a winner, but I want you guys to decide. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section of this video. So with that being said, that's pretty much the end of this one. And once again, it's your boy, X.E.L. Until next time, people. Peace.
AutoRewind.